Peaches, and welcome to today's video. So today we're watching the second episode of Interior Design Masters, and today I'm going to be reacting to the final rooms of this challenge, their second challenge in the show, and I wanted to share my honest opinions with you guys, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I would do better. But just to preface this video, design is a wide variety and there's not one right way to do it. In this video, I'm just going to be sharing my own opinions. I definitely think some techniques require more skill. So I'm going to be judging people on how well they fit the brief, how well their design comes together cohesively and tells a story, and also share my own opinions. To be clear, this isn't a roast. This isn't to tell someone that they have a bad design style. If you guys disagree with me, that's totally fine, but this is all just for fun and maybe you'll learn a thing or two. But with that said, let's get started. So this week's challenge is to renovate hotel rooms. Now it's a little bit interesting because they have to have a nod towards chocolate. So there's three teams. There's white chocolate, dark chocolate, and milk chocolate. So whatever group they're in, they have to make a tribute to that specific type of chocolate. So the first team we're gonna see is milk chocolate. So these three designers are gonna be designing with the idea of milk chocolate in mind. So first is Frank's bedroom. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm not quite sure if it goes well together. It has the blue walls, this mustard seed yellow headboard, the purple trim, and then this elephant wallpaper. Plus it has a touch of hot pink on the lampshade and on the pillow fringe. Also on the base of this like poof that he has. So to me, I don't really understand the role of each color and how they're working together. I think that it's a little scattered with his color choices. I do notice that the elephants on the wall match the world globe that he has there. Then he has some like dishes, I guess, as an accent on the wall. I kind of think all three of those go together. I also think like right off the bat when I see this room, I don't think of chocolate at all. Like I'm just really missing the chocolate element. And he has this like pineapple lamp base with this hot pink lamp shade. First off, I think that the lamp is just way too big for the side table. If you don't have a lot of room, then a great option is to add a sconce, so you still have that lighting there, but you still have the room on your side table. I really don't understand the pineapple choice. When I think of a pineapple, I think of maybe like the tropical or a beach. I don't think of chocolate. I think something that makes a designer really good is their ability to be selective and pare down. And to me, this just is like a lot of everything. If you would have done the globe with the wooden dresser with the elephant pattern, it would definitely be more of like a traveler worldly view on like an Indian feel type of room, which I think could be a really cool room. However, this doesn't tell that story, gets cut short. He did put a wall coat rack next to the door, which I think is useful and good for someone who's going to a hotel to hang their purses or their jackets. I think for this design, something that could have been done better is the layout. I do think that it's quite a small room and it has a very interesting ceiling, which I think that the placement of the bed is quite nice and makes a lot of sense. But because it already has that closet, I don't know if I would have included that dresser. I think that it may have been more like hotel-y and maybe better vibe if he had put like a love seat or like a bench underneath that window, because that window is such a focal point and because that wall is so short. I think that that could have made it very like comforting and cozy vibe over there. I know me personally as a traveler, I don't tend to unpack my suitcase in the dresser, especially when it seems like there's this like closet over on this corner. I do think it's a very uniquely shaped room. I like how he did like the wallpaper there, but then he brings it over to the doors, which I like that he did that, but I don't like these random spurts of purple. He has purple underneath the window, and then he has purple on the closet frame. And then he also has the wallpaper and the wallpaper and then the blue walls, and I just think it's too much. I will say that I do really like what Frank did with the headboard here. He has this robin blue frame around this mustard yellow velvet looking headboard, and then he has these purple rectangles to kind of anchor it to the wall, and I actually really like what he did here. Now, I actually do really like the yellow, blue, and purple together, and I think that if he wanted to use these loud colors, maybe it would have been better executed had he not used this wallpaper. A general rule of thumb for design is that you have to have balance. So if you're gonna go loud with the wallpaper, then you should really go softer with your color choices, and vice versa. If you want to go bright with your colors, maybe go for a more simple pattern. I also think that this green pillow is just so random. Like, there's no more of this color anywhere else. So I don't really understand that choice. And let's talk about the chocolate part of the brief. So he uses this cocoa bean stamp that he made to create this art piece. He didn't just use a photograph of chocolate, and he went the extra step to make this custom art piece, which I quite like. I don't like his color choice. I think it's like this neon yellow, which again is nowhere else in the room, and just adds something else to look at. I think it would have been better if he had used a mustard yellow to match the headboard, and again, did no pattern on the walls, just chose to go with those bright colors. Then I think that this would have been a great execution. Again, this room does not scream chocolate to me overall, but if you had to bring it in to a little degree, I think that this is a good way to do it. I really wish that he had just stuck to a more concrete design plan instead of trying to do everything at once. So when you're designing your own room, a little tip to take into consideration is to, it's so hard because we all love so many different types of styles, but to really like look at all your options and then pick a lane, because when you try to do everything, it ends up not working at all. Alright, so now we have Cassie's bedroom. Okay, so I really like this bedroom. I don't think that I would love it in a hotel room. I think that it would be very hard to clean, and it's not like easily turnoverable. It's not the word, but it's not easy to turn over when between guests. She has like 4 layers, it looks like. She has the purple tiny layer at the front, then she has this white draping, which just is very like luxurious to me. Then she has this pink velvet and this like more patterned headboard, and wow, does it look amazing. Now, she went very heavy with this back focal point behind the bed, and in turn, she left the walls quite simple. Now you can see that she painted the wall 2 different colors, and she brings the paint all the way onto the door. So there's no gaps, there's no like holes anywhere. Everything seems very thought out and intentional, but it's still simple. She didn't add a wallpaper. I think that if she would have added a wallpaper, it would have just been too busy and too much going on. She also has a very clear color palette. It's these warm tones, and originally I told you guys, like, when I think of chocolate, I think of this like a wine almost, and it's kind of this wine peach feeling. When I look at this color palette, I kind of get that same feeling that I get when I look or think about chocolate. So I think in that way she did capture that feeling very well. I think that like chocolate kind of reminds you of like luxurious taste, and this kind of, although it's not necessarily luxurious, it has that richness to it, which I think is a great element. I like that she has this black frame that matches the black lampshade, so it kind of pulled that in. I like that she used a white bedspread, but she had some texture on that bedspread to kind of match the texture of the draping. It just solidifies that story that she's trying to tell. Now, I don't love the lamp bases. I think it's very heavy with the dark shade, and then also this very bulky round base with this weird colorful pattern. I think that it would have been better had she just done like a solid like brass. I think brass would have been really pretty. Brass base with the same black shade. It would have been a little more simple, and because there's so much going on in the background, I don't think that she needed this extra pattern and lamp choice. Then we see her dresser, and it's this pink, and I do think that the pink goes with this color story very well. I wish she would have put new knobs onto the dresser. I feel like the whole rest of the room feels very vintage and like eclectic. It has this like more, just an older style, whereas the knobs seem a little more modern. And I'm not quite sure what her metal choice is. So I think if she could have done those brass lamps and then done brass knobs, it would have tied together really well. I do quite like the desk that she chose. It's the same type of thing. It goes along with this era that she's in. Now, I think her side table choice was quite interesting. Now, she painted it purple, which is in her color story, and it looks like there's marble on the top and on the shelf. I don't think that it matches the room quite like it should. It seems a little out of place. It seems more like a modern piece, whereas all of her other choices are more eclectic looking. So I don't think I would have chosen those side tables. Honestly, if this were my room and I were to go and change something, I would use something the same wood as the desk that she chose and do wood side tables. She has so much color, and she has so many different colors in the same family that I think it would be a good opportunity to tone it down a little bit. But it almost feels like she chose these side tables simply because they were in her color palette, whereas by adding different textures, by adding an element of natural wood, I think it would have added a nice balance. Where's the chocolate element? All I see in the whole room that says chocolate is this little teeny box of chocolate on the desk, and although that's nice, it doesn't make me feel like I'm in a chocolate room. So there's a lot about this that I like, but also a lot that I don't like. So she went for this neon vibe, which is very cool and unique. I don't think it screams chocolate to me, but I do think it's a good hotel room. I would think of that more as like a modern room that goes in a different type or a different themed hotel. But as far as her actual room go, I think that she chose a lane and she stuck with it. She did something unique where she painted the ceiling. All of her walls are white, but I think that that was a great choice because it allows these lights that she included to really have their moment and take focus, whereas it would have been competing had she painted the walls and had these lights. So that was a great choice. And to add some color to the room, she went with the ceiling, which I don't think many people would think to do. So that I really, really enjoy. I like that she's doing the black and white as her color scheme to allow room for this neon pop to really pop. I like that she's taken the neon aspect throughout the whole room. If you look at the side tables, here she has painted the border. So she used a very modern floating side table, and it's white. It matches the aesthetic great, and then she spruced it up by adding this neon color to the border, and I think that that's a great idea. Now on the opposite side of the room, she has this shelving unit, which is these 3 stacked shelves where she also paints the edges. I really like the geometric shape she chose. She didn't just go with like a generic shelf, but she really thought it through and carried over these interesting shapes. And she also carried that same concept to the border of the pillows. She didn't just smack neon pillows on the bed, but she just chose these black and white modern pillows with a subtle neon trim. So that was very well done. Now the chair that she chose as her accent chair is interesting. It seems quite small for this space, and I know that it's a small area, but I do think that there was probably a better option for her out there that really would have grounded the space over in that corner. If you're gonna make a statement seating area, then I think that you should at least have a chair that's comfortable. Also, that plant seems like it's larger than the chair, which when you design a space, you really want to keep in mind proportions, and it just doesn't seem proportionate. I think that if I were to go into this room and make some changes, I would have taken her same exact desk space and the shelving unit, and I would have put it on that wall where the mirror is, and then I would have taken the chair and put it on the opposite corner. I don't think she needs that extra little cube here she has on this pink rug. I think she has enough shelving between the side tables and these shelves. If she could have put that on the other wall, one, she would have had more room to scooch the chair out and to move around a little more freely. And with the chair on the other corner, it could have been a little bit more grounding. And I would have just left the wall in front of the bed open, simply because you can see how narrow the walkway is already. I don't think that you needed to put extra things there. She'd still have all the same elements, just it seems like it would be a little more practical that way. Also, I don't love this neon pink rug. I get that it's fluorescent and it matches technically to the rest of the room, but it just seems so small. And what's the point? Like, usually rugs are meant to ground a space and to really separate each area, but the rug is not large enough to sit underneath the chair. It purely sits underneath this random cube, and that cube, I'm not quite sure the purpose. It's not used as a side table. It's not really big enough to be a shelf. Nothing's sitting on top of it, so I don't really understand what the purpose of that was. The room is too small to have extra things that don't need to be there. I like that her artwork above the bed is also playing in the same geometric modern family. It matches the pillows. She really went with the same theme throughout. However, something that I don't love is that her artwork choice is not centered to the bed, and I'm not quite sure why she did that. If she's gonna do the 3-piece set, I would have just centered it. I think that would be a lot more appealing to the eye, especially because she does have so much balance in this room. If you look at the bed, she has her 2 side tables, and then she has the 2 sconces above. And you know, I had mentioned sconces before. This is a great solution. You can see those side tables are not very large, but they're still getting that light without taking any room off the side table. I love the color choice of the sconces. Now, it's not the same color orange as the ceiling, but it plays very well together, and I think it goes well with this neon theme. But you see, she has lots of symmetry on either side of the bed, so to me it would just make sense to have the artwork centered. And if those artwork, for whatever reason, like if there wasn't room on the wall, I would have chosen something else that could have gone directly above the bed. Again, she chose to put this mirror not centered to the wall, but all the way to the edge of the wall. I'm not quite sure why she chose to do that. I don't love the placement, and again, I think it's just too small for the room. I personally would have DIY'd a larger mirror or tried to find one that was a little bit bigger to really maximize the space on this wall. I'm not even quite sure if you could see your entire body because you can't step back far enough, so I don't think that that was the right choice there. Now, in terms of the brief, the chocolate aspect, her only tribute to chocolate was these 2 simple prints here that say milk and chalk. If I were coming to stay in a chocolate themed hotel, I would not get chocolate out of this room. I don't think that those prints scream chocolate nearly enough. I do understand that she wants to stick to her black and white theme and like this modern feel, so I do think she did good in that aspect. But if you know that the brief is chocolate, you really got to take that into consideration when you're planning your space. So team 2 is going to have dark chocolates. The next 3 designers will be designing with dark chocolate in mind. So first we have Verity's room. Now, I do get the feeling of chocolate in the sense that she used dark brown in her room. So there's that, which is a nice tribute. I actually really like her color palette of dark brown with this like light blue. I think the contrast is really nice, and she did it in a nice way. Like, it's not overboard. She didn't go crazy. Now, she added this texture to the wall, which I think adds some interest. She did the sconces great. I'm very happy to see it. And now her sconce choice. Now she chose a silver metal, which is fine. I don't mind that, especially with this color palette of being such cool tone colors. And I get that it has a reading light, which is nice for a hotel. I don't love how it looks, but I do think it serves a function, so it's an okay choice. I like that the side tables match the trim, and it kind of brings the wall color onto the headboard wall, seeing that she has this pattern here, so I think that it ties it in really nicely. It definitely screams hotel to me. Like, I don't think you would have this room in a bedroom, so that definitely hits that part of the brief. I wish that she would have done a rug. Now, I do think that rugs are a little bit harder to clean in a hotel room. Because she has this brown carpet and this brown headboard, it's quite a lot of brown going on. Now, granted, she does have the benefit of it being a chocolate-themed bedroom, but it's not my favorite carpet, so I would have loved to see something like to brighten it up a little bit. Now, I love the curtains with the headboard. I think that looks very good. It's a very rich brown. I don't love her pillow choices. The floral pattern, I do think it was wise of her to add a pattern to add some interest to the bed. Not this floral pattern. There's this one clip of this built-in unit that she created, and I really like what she did. Now, she did it in the monochrome. She made it a custom built-in, so it's not just random furniture pieces, but it's like very intentional. I love the lamp that she put on this desk. It's like this spiral base, which like adds a lot of uniqueness and like texture with a very simple color scheme with the white lampshade. I like that she uses dark brown like desk mat, which really ties in the color palette. It brings some of the chocolate brown over to the side of the room. Her chair choice for the desk is quite interesting. I don't hate it, I don't love it. I can't tell if it's brown or if it's like a pink color. I would have chosen like a cream color just to keep it simple. I don't think that this specific color added anything to the room. Now, she used silver hardware for all of her pulls onto the drawers, and I think that that's really nice that it matches the hardware of the lamps that she chose. That was a great little touch there. Very briefly, it shows that she chose mirrors for her art choice. Now, mirrors are a great choice to make your room look bigger, and it does look like this room's fairly small, so I understand why she made that choice. However, if you see next to the bed is 2 closet doors that already have mirrors, I don't think I would have chosen to do more mirrors as the only artwork. I think I would have chosen to do maybe something above the bed and then also some type of chocolate art on the opposite wall above the desk to bring that chocolate element one step further. As for the chocolate, it looks like the only element of chocolate that she has is this color palette that she chose. I definitely do feel like it's mint chocolate in this room. I like her color choice. I do think that if she would have put a piece of art, it would have added that extra missing element that she needed. Alright, so now is Jerome's room. So he has a very clear color palette. I really like his geometric focal point wall. Just makes the headboard like the statement. I really like the two-toned pillow choice that he made. I like the very simple, elegant lamp fixtures. And I think that the layout of the room is very smart. He really maximized the space. It doesn't feel too crammed. He has a seating area. The furniture is the right size. He did a really good job executing his idea when it feels like a hotel, but it also feels like a room I personally would want to stay in. And it looks like a designer made this. It doesn't look just like thrown together. It doesn't look like he just went shopping. It looks like he put a lot of thought into his plan. I love the circle, very modern, clean coffee table to go with this white chair. He brings the pillow from the bed over to the chair, which is just a very smart idea. I love the draping curtains, very luxurious. He has that reading light over in the corner, and it looks like he keeps all his metals the same, which I really like too. Seems very intentional. His side tables are very modern and clean. Lots of crisp, modern, clean lines in this room. Very, very well done. Not only did he do this fun accent wall, but he also made this very large, long rectangular headboard. It really goes from one wall all the way to the other end of the side table on the opposite side. So it's very large and it really grounds the bed. The buttons of the headboard have this green color that matches the pillows. So he really not only brought the pillow color on the bed, but to the chair and also in this fine detail, which is just shows how much thought he put into it. To me, along the chocolate theme, I think that this headboard almost screams like a chocolate candy bar in a very subtle way. I don't think that if you were thinking of chocolate you'd see that, but with chocolate in mind, to me that shape and even like the button placement kind of reminds me of a chocolate bar. So that's kind of nice. Now his other chocolate element is this big print. Now I do like that it's not just like an average photo of chocolate. It does have a lot of interest in it. As far as this room goes and as hitting the hotel brief, I think it did a great job. Okay, so Kyle's room. I like that the furniture is actually a matching wood. I don't always love that. I chose this like mid-century wood that looks quite rich, so I really like that choice. I like the two-tonal gray where he has the gray walls and then the gray curtains. That's quite nice. And I'm struggling a little to figure out what his color story is, because he has the gray and then he has this turquoise headboard, then he has this quite rich oak furniture, and then he has these like navy tealish pillows, so I think it's blue, but then he has this like brownish comforter, which seems a little out of place. Now he has this mustard yellow lampshade with this turquoise blue base. To me, it's not very clear on what his objective was, what his story is. I like the wood actually with the gray or with the blue to break it up and to add some brightness into it. But I just think that the mustard doesn't make sense. I think that this chocolate brown doesn't make sense, and I get that the chocolate is the brief, but just by adding a brown comforter doesn't fit the chocolate concept to me. I also can't tell what style is it. Is it mid-century? Is it 70s? Like, what era are we in? What style are we going for? I think it's kind of like Frank's room where there's kind of too much competing. I do like his white trim in the wall, and it's a nice design technique. I just don't know if it adds much value. His side table is quite cool with this rounded shape. It's very abstract, very unique. You know, he has this rounded, unique shaped headboard with the round globe of the light fixture. And then even just like it looks like this round oval mirror that he has on the desk. So I see that he's trying to play with shapes, but he doesn't seem to have much artwork. He has the artwork like just when you walk in. And I like the frames he chose to match the furniture. However, I don't know what these photos are of. They don't show much of them, but they don't seem to really make sense. There's no clear story at all, and it's really kind of missing the mark for me. I also see that he chose to accent the room with like this white and blue, it looks like teapot, and I don't think it fits the chocolate brief. Like, coming into this room, I don't see chocolate very much. I'm just very confused as to like his choices. All right, so now for our final team is the white chocolate team. So these next three designers will be designing with white chocolate in mind. Love Nicki's design, and you know, it's interesting because she plays to the white chocolate in a very subtle way. Love her terrazzo pastel comforters. It's a very interesting way to bring pattern to the bed without going crazy. Not only is it pattern, it's bringing texture and color, where like if she were to do a solid pink, I think it would have been boring, but this just really ties together the colors in the room. And she uses the comforter colors throughout the room. So she has this light blue headboard, and then she has this pink accent wall that goes up half the way, which she also did in her last room. So it's interesting, you can really see their styles coming through in this episode especially. And then she takes this periwinkle color from the comforter as well for the curtains. So I think that was very smart with her color choices. And she also takes mint green up to the ceiling. So, you know, in one of the other bedrooms we talked about painting the ceiling. Because her walls are white, I think it's really interesting that she put the color on the ceiling. It's not bright, it's not overly in your face, but it's a very nice subtle gesture, and I really like this choice. And that mint matches the mint of the side table. So really, like, there's a lot of balance when she makes one choice. She really brings it throughout the whole room. And then, you know, she already has color used in such a great way that she goes with the white chocolate theme, and she adds this white tile looking feature wall. And I think that that's so unique because it does kind of look like chocolate in a way, and it's just smart. I don't usually see that on walls. It's not overly done, so I really like that she did that. And then she took this other type of tiling that's more of the circle shape, and she put that along her desk. So she has tile on both sides of the room. She's playing with a lot of shapes, and that also kind of looks like little tiny chocolates. She did include some white chocolate buttons, and I think that by her doing that, it really makes you pick up on the tiling. I get where she's coming from with having the white chocolate in the room, and I really like how she executed it very subtly, but in a very mature way. So great job hitting that note of the brief. I think that she's hit the chocolate brief beyond just putting a photo in the room. Probably the best thus far. Now, I actually think that she maximized this layout very well. I like that she only did one side table in the middle. And of course, I like that her details match the room. Her pillow choice is very nice. And I love the lighting she chose to add light above both beds. And I like that her metals match. Her metal on the light also matches the metal of the coat rack. So if you're, as a guest, you can hang up some of your pieces. I think that's very smart for a hotel. And then on the wall with the door, she has this, it almost looks like a ladder, but it's a mirror, bringing in that brass overall to this side of the room as well. Great choice. It's quite unique. I don't see a ton of mirrors this shape, so I think that's quite interesting and adds a uniqueness to the space. And the brass is even on the edges of the desk, so very thorough. Now she has the two mirrors, the two circle mirrors opposing the beds, so they both can see themselves. I like that she has symmetry on both walls. So, you know, she's using these pastel colors that very much do remind you of like an ice cream feel. Also, her artwork, it goes along with the feeling of the room, and the colors pull from each color she chose throughout the room and the bedspread. It was a very smart art piece for the space. She's a very smart designer. I honestly don't think that there's one thing that I would go in and change about this room. Trish's room, and it's just totally missing the mark for me. First off, it doesn't scream chocolate. If anything, it almost seems like, to me, it looks almost like a teenage girl who wants to live in New York. So she chose this headboard that has a city landscape. However, they said that they're in a seaside resort. So if anything, you'd want to lean coastal. Also, her pillow choices, beyond having like 5 different accent pillows that are all screaming different things, she chose a comforter and her normal sleeping pillows to have neon pom-poms, which, if that doesn't scream elementary and justice, I'm not quite sure what does. An orange pillow on the chair, this like vintage looking chair. She's using these like scarf holders as decor. Then she has this shelf that doesn't look like it's the best quality with these blue mesh I'm not even sure. They're not drawers. I'm not sure what they would really hold. Maybe it's for shoes. Now, I get wanting, like, she doesn't have any storage in here, so I get her concept for wanting to put this coat rack type thing in the room so that someone would have a place to hang their stuff. But she has this shelf so high up the wall that you really only could hang maybe a jacket, not like a formal dress or something. So I don't love that, and I really don't understand why she didn't just do the coat hangers like Nicki did, why she needed to include so many of these scarf holders. They're not the most practical thing to have. And then she has this, looks like vanity with these 2 small mirrors, which I feel like would make your getting ready in the morning quite difficult. Then she has this pink, it almost looks like a computer table, looks very cheap, very plasticky, with a stool that looks like a Mod Podge of fabrics, like a quilted, I'm not quite sure. The walls are the white with this pink trim along the, like, closer to the ceiling. And the pink does pull from the headboard, but the headboard, that fabric just doesn't make sense to me. Nothing in this room screams chocolate. I'm not quite sure why that was her choice. It's not, even if you take the chocolate out of it, I don't think that this room is very mature, sophisticated. On the other side of this pink computer table, it looks like there's this floating table that has flowers on it. Again, it looks very cheap, not of high quality. And then she brought in the white chocolate tiles that Nicki had, but I guess she ran out of time, so she just threw them on there. With a little cactus that's too small for the planter. It's just very elementary to me. Also, her lighting choice, I mean, she has a ton of great natural light, which is amazing, but she chose for her extra light source to be this, like, pendant that's just kind of hanging there. Like, there's no shade, it's just an Edison bulb. It really doesn't make sense at all to me. And then she has this art piece, you know, she has a pink frame with this black and white setting for this. It looks almost like a Mulan type of Asian print that has a lot of bright colors. I don't really understand this art piece. And then she brings the black and white over to these little drawers. I don't even know what they are. I think that there's chocolate inside of them, but I don't quite understand what their use is. They're very small too, and it seems like just that and the plant is what she used as her decor, which just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem very intentional or thought out. It just kind of seems like thrown together. She puts a little teeny chair in the corner of the window, like not a chair to sit in, a miniature doll chair in the corner. Why would you do that in a hotel room? Somebody, one, would steal it or break it or would get lost. I just think that seems like a very youthful, naive decision, and like not like something that a designer would choose. She puts so much of this white chocolate throughout. She has it in like 6 places, so much so that she even puts a little bit of white chocolate onto the chairs. It almost looks like it's like she has a separate area for like a mouse to come live in, and like that's not the vibe that you want to get when you're staying in a hotel. Like, you want everything to have a clear, intentional purpose, and this just doesn't do that. It's just lots of things that can be stolen, a lot of trinkets, a lot of little things that you want to actually avoid in a hotel. And the desks that she has, you wouldn't want to sit at. It just seems cheap and poorly thought out and very adolescent. This is really struggling. Like, I'm really struggling for this one. So we have Ju's bedroom. You know, last week she had this feminine pattern and it was just way overdone. Whereas this week, I think she did a really good job. Now she has 2 patterns, but they work together. Now last week I mentioned how I think you can have 2 patterns and you can have them opposing but still complementing, and this week she's doing that. She has this almost like tile pattern on the wall, which is beautiful, with a solid headboard to play off that color. Amazing choice. And then she goes in with this floral bedspread, but she doesn't do the whole comforter. She just adds an accent with the pillows and with the end of the bed, all playing on the same color scheme. Very clear color story. So she mixes the 2 patterns very well and intentional, and this plays so much better together than what she was doing last week. It does lean more feminine. Now, I don't see the white chocolate as much, but I think that the colors still kind of are almost similar to Nicki's in the sense that it's almost like a little more ice creamy, like definitely more springtime color, so I do really like that. And I like that she went in with the white accents because there is so much going on with that feature wall and the bedding, that she goes in with the white side tables. They're very modern, very clean lines. And I do like, you know, I haven't said this the whole time, but with side tables, I do prefer a drawer, simply because people like to like empty their pockets, you know, unwind in the day. And I think that a drawer is nice to conceal everything rather than just an open side table that exposes everything. Also, she uses the same white in her frame, which is very clean art on the wall. And she has these green little glass vases with flowers, which I think is a very nice detail to want to add life to the room, to also match the florals in the bedding. She also has florals on the side tables along with like a diffuser, so I think that this all really ties well together with this springtime feeling. Now for her window treatment, she puts up these curtains, and I like that she uses the same blue. She also adds this like almost wine color. I don't love that choice simply because she already has a hot pink and a lavender on the bedspread. I probably would have gone with more of that lavender color just to tie in that color from the bed over on that side of the room. Also, she brings that blue into this other little accent pillow on the bed with these black stripes. I would have left that out. I think the room would have looked better without that. It's not needed. She has enough going on the bed already. And to add this abstract, modern, linear work onto this pillow just doesn't make sense. It is in the color scheme, but I would have left it without it. Now, she takes the blue from the headboard and she carries that over to the opposite wall and paints that a solid blue, and I really quite like that she did that. It makes it so it's not just like so heavily focused with color on one side and then all just white the rest of the room. So it was very smart with what she chose to do. And then she brings the white accents over on top of that blue wall, and it just makes so much sense. She has the white mirror with the white desk. It's the same modern clean lines as the side tables now, and then she has this white chair. It doesn't look like it's the most comfortable, but honestly it's very simple to just blend in. It's not calling any attention over there, so she did a great job. And then in the corner here, she didn't just put like any generic like jungly plant. She put a plant that makes it almost like you were in a garden, and I really get like garden vibes from this room. It just feels very overall springtimey, and I think that plant choice was a great way to bring nature inside in a just way that ties the room all together and really gives you that feeling of being inside of a garden. You know, also speaking of the garden vibes, she puts lanterns, almost like lanterns that you would see on the outside of someone's house, as her sconces, and I think that was such a smart choice because it feels so much like a garden, and what better choice could she have done? It just like she hit on so many notes. That was a really awesome choice. Now for her lamp choice, that's quite cute. It does scream Easter to me. It almost looks like a bunny. You know, it's the white base with the ears on top and then this floral lampshade. And I actually quite like that she brought the florals to the side of the room because you have all of the flowers on the headboard side, but you don't have them over at the desk. So this is a great little simple way to bring the pattern over to the side of the room without going crazy. I do actually like the bunny. I think it goes with this outside theme that she's going, the garden theme. And because she didn't do the pastel colors like in Nicki's, it's not too Eastery. I wouldn't usually pick a rabbit lamp, but it kind of works in the space. As for this rug, I think that it's almost there. I like the color choice. I like that it's white and has this blue detail. It makes sense. I don't know if this Persian style really matches the overall outdoor garden vibe that she has going on here. She also has the floral pattern and the tile pattern, so I don't know if adding this extra Persian pattern to the room is too much. I think she could have done a different, more simple rug and it would have been okay, because she does have so much pattern going on already. Now, if I were to go in and change anything, I would definitely change the wine colored curtains to be more of that lavender, and I would just remove these abstract pillows. I would add maybe something right underneath the TV that's just a small little entryway table, so that you could set your purse down or your keys or your sunglasses or your key card to the room, whatever it is, because that wall, all it had was a TV, and you have some space there, and it looked like there was enough space that you could still walk by if you had just a small little table there. She has little white chocolates in this room as well. She added a full chocolate bar. She did, however, bring a blue book of the same color palette onto the side table that is talking about chocolate, so that's kind of a nice little detail there. It doesn't scream chocolate to me, but I think the room is very well done. Alright guys, that is episode 2 of Interior Design Masters. Now this week Trish went home, and as I said while watching it, I definitely can see why I think that I personally agree with that decision. Now I really want to hear from you guys, as always, what you guys thought. Who is your favorite designer so far? Now that we've seen each designer design 2 spaces, who do you want to win this season? Whose rooms this week did you love? Whose rooms were you not a huge fan of? If you don't want to miss next week's episode, then make sure that you hit subscribe down below and turn on that bell icon so you don't miss any time I post. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And as always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye!